The average home prices in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex have averaged over 25% increase year over year. In fact, the home prices have been rising extremely fast over the past 5 years. So while you as a homeowner may be thinking, wow, that's great, I'm gonna make bank when I sell, there's actually a huge downside to this level of appreciation, especially in the Dallas Fort Worth market that a lot of homeowners are overlooking. But first, welcome to the DFW Homeowner YouTube channel. My name is Jaime Resendez. I'm a realtor and team leader able to help you make money in real estate whether you're buying or selling. So today I want to share with you the downsides of all of this appreciation that's going on from a homeowner's perspective, because there's a lot of other videos out there that address the buying experience or lack thereof, because there's a ton of competition. Homes have gotten incredibly high, so getting that down payment and actually getting into a home, that has become a challenge. And we know that. I'm not telling you anything new that you don't know about the affordability when it comes to buying. So that's why I want to present the homeowner side of the equation, because you at some point may become a homeowner, or you are a homeowner right now. This is very valuable for you to know, because if you're a homeowner, you've probably done the Zillow dance at one point in time, where you log into Zillow and see that the home that you bought for $300,000 2 years ago, well, now Zillow is saying it can sell for over $400,000 pretty easy. To give you a real life example, a couple of years ago, I bought two properties, almost identical properties, for about $220,000 a piece. And now fast forward 2 years later, I can sell each one of them for $350,000 a piece. Now, I'm not saying that to brag, given that chances are if you bought in the last year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you have a similar story. Now, here's the thing. You as a homeowner, you see these values rise, and that excites you. That validates the choice that you made of buying. And that's true, but the only way that you actually capitalize on that gain of value is by you selling. Now, I'm not suggesting that you sell in order to realize that gain. That's not where I'm going here. What I want to present to you is the downside that this appreciation is having for you as a homeowner from a property taxes perspective. Because if you're in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, that means that you're in one of the top taxing states when it comes to property taxes in the country. So let's take an example. Let's say you bought a property, we'll call it 3 years ago, for $300,000. And now it's appraising for $450,000, which is very realistic in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex in the market that we're coming out of. Now, here's where I get a little bit technical. I have to introduce the difference between the fair market value, the value that you can actually expect if you are selling or buying property, and the assessed value. The assessed value is what the county appraisal district uses to calculate your property taxes. So in other words, your fair market value is over here, and the assessed value oftentimes is actually less. The fair market value is what you can sell the property for, and over here is what you're being taxed. So again, more often than not, the fair market value is higher. So in this example, let's say you can sell that home for $450,000. That's retail. We'll call that fair market value. And then you're being assessed something less. So we're going to call that $400,000. That's realistic. Now, I do apologize ahead of time for introducing a different variable, something a little bit more technical, but I want to give you as much information as possible, some real information, because a lot of other YouTubers out there aren't giving you the actual facts. They're just speaking in abstract, and it's in those details that some of the loans that they're pushing, some of these scenarios that they're pushing, they're not real, do not exist. It's made up. But anyway, stick with me, please. You can sell the house now for $450,000. You're being assessed, so the property taxes you're paying on is on $400,000. So again, just knowing the difference between the fair market value and the assessed value. So that's the current situation. Well, 3 years ago, you bought it at the fair market value, right? So there you paid $300,000, and chances are that the homeowner was paying less again. So this is kind of rises, right? So the homeowner was paying less. We're going to call that $250,000. All right. So now that we got that clear, let's get rid of this side. Let's get rid of the fair market value. Let's just talk about property taxes, because you're not selling. If you were selling, then we would take the fair market value and see the difference, how much you earned, how much you gained in the buying that house 3 years ago for $300,000 and selling it for $450,000 3 years later. Let's stay on the assessed value of the property. So remember, when you bought it, it was assessed a value of $250,000. Again, it's not going to be too far off from what the actual one was. I'm guesstimating based off of how the assessed values go. It could actually be less, but but it could also be a little bit more. But anyway, so I'm going down a rabbit hole. So let's say you bought that house, and when you bought it for $300,000, but you're being assessed a value of $250,000. So around the Dallas Ft Worth Metroplex, the average property tax rate is roughly 2.5%. So if you do the math on that, on property taxes alone, on that property, you're paying over $6,000 a year in property taxes, $6,250 to be exact. And if you divide that out by a monthly payment, which most of you will be paying a monthly payment on the property taxes as opposed to paying it in bulk, you're paying $520 every single month as part of your mortgage payment, so it can go into escrow in property taxes. Now that's what you were paying, right? But we know that the appreciation continues to happen. It continues to go. So after 3 years, that property that you were being assessed, valued at, so you're paying taxes on this assessed value of $250, now it's $400,000. So in taxes alone, that $400,000 ends up becoming $10,000. So $10,000 is what you're paying in yearly taxes. If you divide that out by monthly payments, you're looking at $833 per month. So in a span of 3 years, you have added at least $300 more per month in your mortgage payment. So if you got into that property just barely making it, nothing wrong with that. Everybody has the right to be a homeowner. But if you got into that home just barely making it, these last 3 years have really stretched you. Yes, the appreciation still happens, but remember that appreciation, when it comes to the fair market value, this side of the equation, that doesn't materialize, that doesn't benefit you until you sell. So in the meantime, you're over here in the assessed value, let's call it its cousin of fair market value. You're paying that come heck or high water. All right, so just a quick heads up. I'm not trying to come to the party empty-handed. I want to bring something to you. I don't want to just make it all negative. There are ways to lower your property taxes. There are ways to minimize the impact, and that's by applying your homestead exemption. So if you have a home and you're living in that home as your primary residence, please, please, please make sure that you have your homestead exemption applied. It's free to do. Go to the county appraisal district and apply the homestead exemption today. That's going to save you money on property taxes. So make sure that you check that out. Now, the second thing you want to do every single year is you want to protest your property taxes. That will limit the rise, the impact that you're going to have in your property taxes, so you can realistically take that increase. In this example that we just gave, you can take that increase from a $300 per month impact to something half or less. So go out there and execute on that. I have other videos in this channel that show you exactly how to apply your homestead exemption and also protest your property taxes. Good luck.